Okay, we have our lower third scene open here with our reference. Last thing that we need to tackle here is live news with the time clock in the corner. And of course, you could put whatever you want in here in the lower right. It doesn't just need to be live news. So to get started, let's create a new scene. We'll come down into our S tab, into the folder that you want to create the scene in, and we're just going to call this one the lower right, or LR for short. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to close the current scene that I'm in. I'm going to go into my scene tab. I'm going to go into the render tab and first make sure that I'm in the classic mode. Then I'm going to go back into the settings. I'm going to grab an image as a reference just to be sure that I know where to place our new text and time clock here. So it looks like three things that we need. We need a backplate for the time and two texts. So number one, we could go grab the backplate, which would be a rectangle, and we could slide this down here. We'll go into the rectangle settings, use the height and width to roughly create a backplate here. And again, we have our vertex colors on a rectangle, which we can quickly just use here to create the color red. And then as you can see, we just drag each color down onto each square and that will color it. Now we go to the width, height. We're getting closer. Alright, so roughly that's good for our backplate. We need our text. So we come into our asset view, we go into the F tab, we look for the folder where we have our fonts. So once I navigate to that folder, I have it here, and then I'm going to slide a font up into here. I'm just going to change what it says. Let's say this is live news. I'm going to highlight that. And again, we have our different options here for things like word spacing, leading, so I can move those two closer, and we also have tracking, which will move the text closer as well. I'm going to go into the transformation editor. I'm going to scale this down. We're going to drag this over into the lower right, and we're roughly right around the spot that we need to be. I'm going to go into the scene. I'm just going to turn our reference image off now. Lastly, we would need the clock or the time. First, I'm going to rename this one is live news, and I can just copy that container by holding down Control, clicking and dragging. Let's call this one clock. So we'll double click on it to be able to rename it, and we'll type in a new name. I'm going to click on the text editor here to go into the text editor. Two ways that we can do the clock. Number one, I'm just going to delete this news here. Now within the text editor itself, you have this option for clock. So if we open this up, we can turn this on, and when we do that, you can see up here it says live at clock. Let me slide this over a bit here. Here's our clock, or we'll slide it down so that we can see it. So first, what I would do is get rid of our live, and here you can see that it's getting a little bit closer with numbers. So we have a clock setting down here. We have our format, which we could change. So if I change that, you can see how that's changing the text of the font to hours, minutes, reflective of whatever is in here. Now we also have further down the opportunity to count, offset, or use system time. So I can use system time for this as well. And then you can also select how you want it. So there are some combinations in here, but if you want a user defined, you could come down here, type user defined, and we could use hour, minute. So if you just wanted 1 hour, minute, you could do that as well. I'm going to turn that off, however, and we're going to put some font back in there. Just know where it is, and I'm going to use a different way to do it. So I'm going to go into plugins, and I'm going to navigate down to the tools folder, and there is a plugin in there called system time. We can just drag that onto there. The system time does give you some more options, and over here we have an hour, minutes, seconds. So not only does it give you options, but it helps you to give a key here for the format. So little case A, big case A, small case B, big case B, they're all going to do something different. And if we wanted to completely get rid of the hour, and let's say I just want a single hour, not 24-hour clock, I could type in a small case I, and that will give me the hour, and let's say a minute as well. So once you hit enter, it will update that system time into the format that you want. I'm going to slide this over into or above or in front of our red backplate. And just to make sure, I'm going to go into the Z position just to make sure that this font doesn't interfere with the red backplate. And so I'm just going to make some final adjustments here to the position and we'll be done. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save this scene. So I'm going to click on the save button and I'm going to navigate to wherever we want to save it and just give it the name. So I'll hit save. Lastly, we would just need to animate this on. So you can decide how you want to do that. Really quick, I'm just going to show you one way that we can do it. And going through animating the rest of the things on, there will be different techniques that we're going to use. So this one's going to be quite simple. I'm just going to create a group. I'm going to throw all of these within one group. I'm going to, instead of clicking on the G tab this time, we're going to just click on the little group button right there, and that does it automatically. It saves us the trouble of having to slide things right into the group manually. We could rename this group if we want. We'll give it the name LR. And now since everything within this group is grouped, what we can do is just animate this group on. So here's where I want it to land at 30 seconds or 30 frames. So I'm going to advance my timeline here to 30. I'm going to set keyframe. I'm going to rewind my timeline. So it's at 0. This is where I want it to start. So whenever someone hits play, it's going to start from the side and land there. So I'm going to move my position to the right. It's just going to come in from the right of the screen and land there anytime that anybody hits play for this particular element. So I'm going to update that keyframe. Ready? Now we have an animation keyframe there. If we come over here and hit play, you can see that that live news just comes on together. We animated the group. We could individually animate each one of these if we wanted. I just saved us some time by having them all in one group and coming together. Okay, so that's how you do the lower right. Make sure you go ahead and save that as well.